Well, I have a special message here. First recorded my rant on on my cell phone. I was so pissed off, but because the cell phone sort of had a glitch after recording 26 minutes of this rant video, something fucked up and it stopped. So it stopped me from ranting, which maybe was a good thing. Uh, Good thing in a way, but bad thing because I was on a good roll. But because of that, I'm posting. I'm going to do something different here and post this video differently. I still want to address the matter at hand that inspired this video, or shall I say, pissed me off so bad that I just fucking had to sit in the bed and record this off the cuff. Before, yeah, I mean, I was just steaming. Still am steaming, but I've calmed down a little bit since the phone made me do it. I didn't take pills. I didn't have to take pills. I didn't have to take a damn drink. The phone fucked up, so I had to deal with it. I had to deal with it. I calmed down. So now that I'm calmed down, let me get to the point. Uh, the reason I'm posting this video and making this statement is because Facebook apparently has told me, in a matter of words, that I'm one step away from death, basically, being banned from Facebook. Now, I don't know what the hell they were saying. I still can't figure out what they mean. But in some form, I'm going to be banned from Facebook. And just banned. They're going to shut me up. And all of you out there, I'm sure know what I mean, have experienced this at some point or another. And all of you have probably been pissed off about this stuff, just like me. So, this is probably not some big deal. Maybe not a big deal. You probably, you may not want to watch the whole video. I encourage you to do it just for some of the things I brought up, even though it's rough. The video, the original raw unedited video will appear after this video. The only edit is where I cut it off where it fucked up. But I do encourage you to watch it. It's 26 minutes. It's at the end of this. I'm putting this first so you can see me in a sane state. Where I'm, it's not just ranting like some lunatic. But I mean, there are times when you just have to do this. So please understand, I'm not going to go off and do something stupid. I just had to make this political rant because a lot of things have been happening that I've been seeing in life in this world here in the last year, all my life, but especially since the pandemic. And then in my own personal life, I've had things happen. And, it's just got me thinking in a very deep state about a lot of things, And especially in the last several days, maybe the last week or two, I've been in really deep state thought about stuff, just totally, just stuff, put it that way. It's funny, I listen to uh, um, NPR and BBC all the time. I've got 3 radios in a house with one person, and NPR, BBC, they're all on, it's all on the same station in 3 or 4 different rooms. Some rooms I hardly ever go in. And, I put them there for a reason, not just to be overkill, to make it sound like somebody's here, when they're not, when I'm not here. But point is that I listen all the time to Radio IQ 91.5 here in Richmond, Virginia. It's out of Virginia Tech. They're behind the station. Very good station. And, NPR is good. And Radio IQ, for whatever reason, is better than the station here in Richmond, I think, in my opinion. And they have a lot of different NPR produced stories or shows that have very interesting content, very thought provoking, You know, they make you think, interesting stuff. No, they're not this big liberal conspiracy like the conservatives always want to try to make out to say. Thank God they're not. I wouldn't be listening, you know. I mean, they're not Fox News. And I'm glad they're not Fox News. You know, they really are fair. They try to be fair. They make an honest effort, unlike commercial media, you know. And needless to say, they have this stuff on, and so I'm always thinking about the stuff I hear. Thinking about the different things, and it brings me to larger picture things. I'm a big picture kind of guy. I think about things, specifically, in detail of the issue, but then I'm always looking at the bigger picture and bigger implications of what that little thing, represents, what my position on that, how that would affect larger, affect things in a larger sense. The way you're supposed to think, I guess, especially if you're on the Supreme Court or something. I don't want to get into that debate. I have issues about that, the direction they're taking. But point is, I think in that kind of way where, you sit down, you look at a core issue about it could be the most irrelevant thing, seemingly irrelevant. But I look at this thing, and then I'm starting thinking about all the things that may be related or tied together into this thing, and how you think about this thing connects to how larger things are thought about and dealt with and so on. So anyway, that's kind of the way the rant was, kind of the rough version of me doing that, and I don't want to have to remake the thing, remake it and go over it, which I really should do, because, it's a really good rant. It's got some good ideas. It's just, it was just done off the cuff. I'm a communications person, I went to school for that shit. And I didn't really need to go to school. I followed politics since I was 11 years old. Started with the Reagan era, God help us. I won't get into that either. I had a rant on there about that. But anyway, the point is that, I know how to do these things. But I do this on purpose because, for one, I just don't have 25 minutes to go back, pick through everything, and cover everything again. I don't think it's that important, but it's important. So I'm just going to post the raw version. You can make of it what you can. Some of it's a little messed up the way it recorded, but hopefully the general picture is there. But what I want to address here in this portion is that basically Facebook, I woke up today, I usually get my cup of coffee, I turn on NPR for a little while in my room. Like I said, I got 3 radios everywhere. I even got it in my car. So, Radio IQ. So if those guys are listening, those girls, women, people, all those people that are behind Radio IQ and NPR, y'all got a damn good station. I like the show, blah, blah. Anyway, I had to put a slug in there, though, because they really do a good job. So anyway, I usually do that, and one of the things I do, before I even get on the computer that I'm on right now, the desktop I call it, I go to my phone, I just scan a couple of things. One of them's Facebook. So the first thing that happens, I open Facebook, and they tell me I'm one step from death, basically. It's like the doctor coming in the room and telling you, you're going to die if you do this one more time, that kind of shit. And unlike with the doctor, who probably has a valid reason for telling you this, in his opinion, even if his opinion's wrong, it's based on some kind of something that makes sense to him, something that's based on something that makes sense, even if it's maybe misinterpreted a certain way, But they're telling me this, based on nothing, based on nonsense. That's what pissed me off, nonsense. I can deal with differences of opinion. I can deal with, you know, uh, different interpretations of things. I don't always like it, but I can deal with it. But this is just pure nonsense. And this is like the last straw of nonsense that I'm going to put up with Facebook. If you see me disappear, if you never see me on here again, and you wonder what happened, now you'll know, at least have a little idea why I disappeared. Because they say that, I'm one step from death. They don't tell me why, or at least they don't even give me any due process. They don't even say nothing. They tell me some shit about spam. We'll get to that in a minute. But they're telling me all this stuff, and it just, that was the last straw. I mean, I've been through 2 weeks of my mind just grilling all these issues, and then I gotta wake up to this shit. I really gotta fucking wake up to this nonsense on election day of all fucking days of a year. Election day. And, election day. I'll leave it at that. In a way, it's almost like God is coming down to me to tell me, something that I need to do. And he's doing it on this day, because this day's symbolic of something. I won't get into all that shit. But, I mean, if you think about it in a literary sense, it's almost on cue. And I always think about stuff that way, I'm a writer kind of guy, a dramatic kind of cinematic kind of guy. I like a good fucking scene with symbolic metaphor and every blah blah. Anyway, it's like that. So it just pissed me off so bad that I'm making this statement that this is just total fucking nonsense. Absolute nonsense. I've had enough. And I'm urging all of you out there, and I know all of you out there have dealt with this in some form or another yourself. It's time for all of us to just speak up, stand up, and stop putting up with this shit, and tell Facebook to to kiss our asses and stop this stupid nonsense. These double standards nonsense that make no sense. We gotta stand up and do something. I'm not gonna vote today. I'll tell you that. I'm not even gonna participate in the process today. And there's a reason for that, and I won't get into that. I won't get into it. But it comes down to the same sort of thing where I'm dealing with right here with Facebook. On election day. I'm already fucking dealing with that fucking thing. And then they come at me with this. And, it's like God's telling me. And I'm not even a religious person. I'm a spiritual person, but I'm not into all this God, Jesus thumping Bible stuff and, these mystical things, I do believe, in forces of nature and mysteries and ghosts and supernatural. I believe in a higher power. That's all I believe, basically. I don't know what the fuck it is. I wish the fuck I did. I wish I had that higher power myself. But point is, it's like all these little things are just coming together little by little, incrementally in life. And here I am at this day and this time and this moment. And the light bulb finally just snaps and goes off, and it just won't shut off this time. You just can't ignore it this time. So it's my civic duty. Instead of voting, instead of wasting my time being a pawn in the system that doesn't give a fuck about anybody, that just does their things they want to do no matter what the fuck you do. No, your vote doesn't really count. It doesn't anymore. Sadly to say, it really fucking doesn't. Because you know what? They use your vote. They use you as a pawn to get your vote and give you all that nonsense, feel-good nonsense crap. And then they go in there and they do the same old shit over and over and over again. This is going on all over the place in this country. You know, I can't speak for other countries. I don't live there. I don't know much about it. But I know in America, you know, I grew up, you know, like I said, I was born in 1969. You know, I grew up after Hope left America. Hope was killed off in America by the time I woke up. I was left with Nixon. That's what I was left with. I was brought into this world with Nixon, and I learned about America when Reagan was elected. His morning in America. And now here we are in the shithole we're in. In a shithole. You could bring a fleet of fucking rotor-rooters over here and not get the shit to go down. It just keeps coming up, up, up. Like that geyser in Yellowstone. Just keeps coming up. And I think part of the reason is people have been conditioned to accept this shit. They don't want to fool with it. They are powerless, or at least they're made to feel powerless. For a reason. They don't want people to have any power. They don't want us, the people, to have power. They want to manipulate us the way they want us to be. And that's one thing that just burns. When I meet a person in my personal life and I can smell that shit, and I always smell it, it just pisses me off. And I don't do business with people like that. And if I have to do business with people like that, I let them think they're doing what they think they're doing. And then I fuck them in the ass at the, you know, when I need to do it to protect myself and stand up for something. Needless to say, what I'm doing here on election day, instead of voting, is standing up and doing something. Instead of just saying I'm going to do something, instead of just feeling like I'm going to do something by casting a vote for somebody that isn't going to do a goddamn thing, but the same thing they've always been doing, which is nothing these days, I'm going to stand up and I'm going to make this video. And if you see it, hopefully you'll see it. They may take this down because they'll find a way to say this violates something. That's their little game, you know. You know, rules are rules. Sometimes there's rules for a reason, you know, and you can respect that. But this stuff is just rules for manipulation. And so I'm going to stand up against that. Like the man over there in China that we all remember that got ran over by the tank. He gave up his life and died a horrible death to stand up for what he believed in. Here in America, these people, you know, they're busy on their cell phones. They're busy, you know, they're worried about fucking the Kardashians' last shit that they took. They're worried about all this nonsense. And they're conditioned to worry about all this nonsense. And yet, people die to have what we have. And we're fucking it all up. And we're letting the people in this country fuck it up for us. And we're not standing up. We're not doing a damn thing. We're sitting here like fools, letting them do it. So I'm not going to let them do it. I've decided it's time to stand up, and this is my first stand. Maybe it's my last. I don't know. But I'm going to stand at least once before I die. I'm going to stand for something. And it's going to be standing for what I think is right. The right to not put up with nonsense and encourage people not to do the same. Speak out and do something about this and start putting fires under asses until they start listening, till they can't do anything but listen and not get away with this nonsense anymore, not get away with using us as pawns and getting away with it, to hold them accountable, not to just hear lip service, but see action, inaction. This nation wasn't built on silence, remaining silence, acting like it didn't happen, pretending that it's not there when it's right in front of you. No, this country was built on Rosa Parks moments. That's what it was built on, essentially. That's what I relate to anyway. A Rosa Parks moment. All over, this country was built on Rosa Parks moments. Where you're just tired. You get on the bus and you're tired and you just want to go home. You worked your ass off. You got fucked all day. You just want to go home and have a peaceful dinner and go to sleep. And some son of a bitch has got to tell you, you got to sit on the back of the bus. To cap your day off, you got to sit on the back of the bus. And it's some dumbass rapper put in some dumb rap song I heard about that my mother told me about. I live in a ghetto, so I hear this stuff all the time. She was talking about this rap song. And we were talking about how terrible it was, the way he was depicting this rapper was what he was saying, how badly it represented black people, not because of, the black thing or any of that, but because of the message that was in it and the lines, the lyrics. It said, Rosa Parks set her fat ass down. Well, that's true. Rosa Parks set her fat ass down. She said, I'm not fucking going to the back of the bus. I'm going to set my fat ass down. And the old lady set her fat ass down. And the civil rights movement was born. Well, it was brewing. But that was a moment in infamy that changed the course of this nation. And we've had moments like that throughout history. People standing up, having enough, and doing what they had to do. Even if it wasn't completely right sometimes, even if it was questionable. Standing up for something. Having conviction for something other than just the dollar. Just me. The Reagan generation, me generation. Something more, Kennedy was about us as people and hope. Reagan was about me and fuck everybody else. That's why I don't like Reagan. That's why I don't like that neoconservative attitude. That's why I'm a liberal. I'm an old school liberal. Anyway, the point is that, it's not about me. It's about us. We're a nation of people. We got to learn how to get along. We got to stand up for something. More than just the dollars and cents. More than just our fat ass in our fucking chair. Because sometimes, what happens down the street, if you let it go on, it's going to be up your ass sooner or later. If you let trash be thrown down up the street because you don't want to deal with it, you don't care, and you keep doing that long enough, sooner or later, the trash is going to be starting to end up in your fucking driveway. And it ain't going to be a damn thing you can do about it. And it's just going to be messier and messier the more you don't stand up and the more that you ignore it. Then it's going to be like a disease, like cancer. You can pretend it's not there. You can find all kinds of ways to justify how it's not there, and you shouldn't do this and you shouldn't do that. Oh, you should just listen to this person and their way. You can do all that. But the fact is, we know one thing. Cancer's going to kill you if you don't treat it. Sometimes it kills you even if you do treat it. But you have no chance if you don't do something. It's just plain and simple. If you don't do something, you're going to have nothing. And we're not going to have a country if we keep putting up with this shit. We're going to kill ourselves and kill each other. We're on the brink of that now because of people like Steve Bannon. Instead of doing the right thing with it, he goes out and does the wrong thing, and he knows he's doing the wrong thing. For what? Because he can get away with it because he can make a buck. That's why I don't like the Reagan ideal. That's why I'll never idolize that man. He's the one that planted that me seed and fuck everybody else. Kennedy, he asked us very succinctly and poetically. He had grace. Now, he wasn't perfect. We all know that. But he did have grace, and he had his heart in the right fucking place. That's why they killed him off. That's why they killed Robert Kennedy off. That's why they killed King off. He had his, he didn't say me and fuck everybody else. He said, ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. Well, this is what I'm doing for my country. This is all I got. The last week I was down to nothing. No money. I couldn't even get gas to take a walk. I don't even get into all the personal things, but put it this way, succinctly, I was down so bad that I didn't even have cigarette. I saved my cigarette butts because I know I'm going to be having a time like this all the time, month after month. I was even out of the cigarette butts. I don't run out of cigarette butts. That's, and that's what this country's getting to. We're down to where we don't even have the very fucking basic anything. We're watered down like the muck at Mickey D's. And it's time to stop. It's time to stand up and stop this. And stand up and have real conviction. Not all this bandwagon clanging around, jumping on bandwagons, black and white solutions. Nothing's like that in reality. This political correctness, trying to say that there can be political correctness when politics has never been correct since the inception of man and humanity. Stuff like this, it's gotten to the point where you just got to stand up. This system is not working like this. It's not working. And it's working less by the day because of people not doing anything. So I'm going to do my part this election day. I'm going to sit here and tell you what I'm telling you. And I will post the video separately, the raw video, after this video. And I encourage you to watch it. That's the version uncensored. Unlike, in a way, it's good that I'm going to post that. Because you'll see the back room and the front room. These days, people just want you to see the front room, all polished up, all manipulated. Well, you'll see how pissed off I really was. And you'll see a little version of me calming down and presenting it in a more sensible fashion. And I do this not to manipulate. I do this just because the phone screwed up. And so it gave me an opportunity to think a little bit, and try to make this more clear, before you see that and explain it. So there's less ambiguity there. That's another thing. We got to start thinking, critical thinking, and stop letting people think for us or let people tell us that they should think for us. We got to stop this AI thing. AI cannot replace human intelligence. Never will. So get up, think critically. And I mean think. Don't go do research. Think. Stand up. Have real conviction. Stop being pawns. Stop letting this country disappear. Stop letting your rights disappear. Stop letting justice, common sense disappear. Stand up and do something for your country, like Kennedy said. Because there's no mornings in America. There's mornings and nights in America. And when we're in a nighttime, it's dark. So we better learn how to get around while it's daylight. So when we're in the dark, we can bring ourselves back to the light. It's not a one-sided equation like Reagan had us all believe. Didn't have me believe it. I was 11 years old and I saw through that bullshit. And I knew it was a bad seed. We won't get into that, but there's morning and night. There's not just morning. And right now we're in the darkness at the 11th hour in America. Our nation, everything our people before us built and gave us and fought for and died for is at the brink. And the future of our children is at the brink because of what we're doing today. So, that's my political speech. Yeah, it's political. It's half-assed. But it's genuine. I didn't script this. I'm talking directly to you as I think. So I ask you to watch the video, think about what's said, think about what I said here, stand up, write Facebook, bombard them. Make this video go viral, share it everywhere. Share it across platforms. And let's stand up. And by the way, the video in question that they say violated community guidelines, they said it was spam. That was their excuse. They allow all these ads on Facebook. I see them all the time that are blatantly fraudulent, blatantly manipulated and fraudulent. That's okay, but 8 seconds of me in a miniskirt looking stupid dancing the YMCA, which was posted originally on TikTok for a joke because I just get a kick out of a song. That's not okay. That violates community standards. If you don't think something's wrong with that, if that doesn't piss you off, if you don't, if you don't give a fuck about what that says, then maybe you're part of the problem. Think about that. Good night.